Entitled parents stole my Switch and held it hostage because I wasn't visiting anymore. I'm 20 and moved out of my parents' house at 18 because I really can't stand them. And it's for all of the kinds of reasons you can guess. They were jerks, favored my younger siblings, used me as free child care, told me, what's mine is mine, and what's yours is mine, and all that BS. When I left, my dad told me not to let the door hit me on my way out and don't come back. I got the smallest and cheapest apartment I could find and have worked the same full-time job for 2 years. My parents didn't even hold out a month before calling me and begging me to come back home. Because without me someone else had to watch my siblings. I refused because now I finally had time for myself. My dad eventually called me and actually demanded I move back home and pay them rent instead because family is more important than my personal independence. I said back to him that my life is important too. And for once I'm getting to live for myself. So he basically said, well then see how long you can last without us, and we didn't talk for months. I don't know what he was hoping for. I managed well enough by myself. My family seemed to slowly accept that I wasn't going to come crawling back, and over time we seemed to mend things. I could tell they were having a hard time dealing with the fact things were on my terms and not theirs. They begged me to watch my youngest siblings from time to time, even though the two that are closest to me in age are in their mid-teens now. But my parents don't want to put babysitting on them any more than they have to. Which is hypocritical of them since they tried to put it on me as much as possible. And yes, I have called them out on that. They responded with gaslighting and more months of silence yet again. And again they were the ones to come crawling back to me for help. Not long ago, I bought myself a used Nintendo Switch. Though, could only afford one game for it at the moment. Which is Mario Kart. I got it bundled with the console for a good deal. My mom came by on a Saturday and asked me to watch my 2 youngest siblings for a while. She basically pushed them in the door at me and ran. And I was stuck with these 2 rowdy kids all day in my tiny apartment. My mom didn't come back until after 9 p.m. And that was because I called her and made her come get the kids. And she really didn't like that I cut her fun time short. I said that unless she wanted to pay me, I wasn't going to be watching my siblings all day anymore. And next time I won't even open the door, and I'll call the cops if she just leaves them outside. The next morning I realized I couldn't find my Switch anywhere. So I called my parents. And like I thought, one of my siblings took it. I said I was coming over to get it right away. But my mom said it could wait because my youngest sibling was gaming on it. And she didn't have the heart to take it away. I said it was taken without my permission. And I will be taking it back. I got on my bike and rode there ASAP. And when I arrived, my sibling was crying because the Switch's battery had gone dead and they didn't have the charger. I told them to give it back. But my dad took it and said I can have it back when I agree to start helping out with my siblings more. I told him if that's how he wanted to play this, I'd get police involved. And no, I was not bluffing. He dug his heels in and insisted I wouldn't do it. Until I pulled my phone out and started dialing. My mom yelled, "Wait," and hurriedly took my Switch back from my dad. He called her a traitor and demanded she return it to him instead of me. But she said it wasn't worth having police called on them. Before leaving, I told them if this ever happens again, I'd be calling the police first. And if they want a Switch for my siblings so bad, they can get their own. My dad yelled that I can't disrespect him like that. And I countered that even though I'm an adult, he's not bothered to ever show an ounce of respect to me. And I'd had enough. Then I walked out with him yelling at me to come back and face him. Right now, it's back to silence from them. My mom texted me once begging me to still watch my siblings. I said that if she wanted me to babysit so bad, she could pay me. And I'd only take the money in advance. Because I'm not doing it for free anymore. Especially after they stole from me and tried to keep from returning my property. They don't own me, I'm an adult with my own place and my own life. And they can either get used to it or get lost. It's been over a week since that text convo, and none of them have as of yet talked to me again. Which is fine. They can deal with their own messes. Philokai replied. I worked at theater with a bar. People would try to drop their kids to watch movies alone and I'd tell them that they needed to stay and supervise, because 1. We serve alcohol and 2. We aren't babysitters. This one woman bought a ticket and in line for concessions was telling her spawn how she'd let them watch it by themselves after she got them seated, to which I again politely reminded her that couldn't happen. She got in my face and said, "Listen sweetheart, I heard you the first time. I understand the rules." Later a woman supervising a birthday party's worth of kids explained that the woman had sat their kids next to them and left, not coming back. We called the police for child abandonment. The theater was attached to a hotel with 4 restaurants, 6 bars, a swimming pool, courtyard with fireplaces and live music. We tracked down the parents who were hiding in a small seating area next to the gift shop having wine with her husband. She saw me approach and snottily asked me what I wanted. I explained that the police had been called and explained why. She was pissed. She tried to give the cops some bullshit about low blood sugar and needing something to eat. It was a theater that served food. She just wanted somewhere to dump the kids so she could have a drink in peace. They gave her the choice of chaperoning the kids, or taking her family home. Her husband reluctantly went back in with the kids. He lasted about 20 minutes before he dragged them out. Pretty sure it was Despicable Me 3 or Lego Ninjago or something equally obnoxious. Also didn't help that he'd missed half of the movie, and the kids got pulled out, so they missed the movie too. Nobody in that family had a good night. Maybe don't dump your kids off in random places and expect people to take care of them for you. My rifle is my friend also replied. Not sure how that would fly being that they're siblings. The OP is certainly not required to watch the kids by any means, and I'm not suggesting otherwise. However, the cops would likely view this as a family member not wanting to babysit. They'll try to talk her out of filing a report, and do so in the strongest terms they could get away with, then probably write it up as a domestic dispute. The best thing to do is go down to the CPS office, or do it online if possible, but at the office the OP might get to speak to a real person instead of just filling out a form, and fill out a report that the parents are just dumping the kids at the OP's place, sometimes without even knowing if anybody's there. That will get it on record and they'll start a file, so the next time they try the OP can call the cops and refer to a CPS case number. They'll take that a lot more seriously than an older sibling not wanting to babysit. However, the cops would likely view this as a family member not wanting to babysit. That's where OP has to stand firm. He's reporting this as child abandonment, and the police can either accept the report or he'll call his city council member or local state representative, federal representative, local news. All of the above about their refusal to do their damn jobs. The police may not do anything about it, but they damned well have to take the report and start the paper trail. Blind Dragon replied. Take it from someone who grew up in foster care, it is extremely easy for family to get other family into the system. In this situation, all OP has to do is explain that he isn't on speaking terms with parents, citing emotional abuse. Then explain that he told the mom repeatedly that he couldn't and would not watch the kids, ADN that even after knowing that the mom left them there. OP's mom knowingly leaving the kids in a place where she was repeatedly told there would be no parental supervision would be an instant CPS issue. Cops may try to convince OP to not file the report, but once it's filed they have no choice but to look into it. Connect Office 8072 also replied. Having worked for the state's attorney in the Abuse and Neglect Division, I assure you, this is how many cases start. Mom asks her sister to watch the 4 kids while she goes to the store. Mom proceeds to dump the kids at her sister's apartment and leaves. After 3 days have passed without contact from mom, sister calls the cops. Mom finally shows up 2 weeks later and gets all indignant that sister called the cops. Mom lies in court and says told sister to watch the kids while she was gone, never addressing the fact that her 10-year-old has already told the court that her mom said she'd be right back.